As you probably know, if you watch my YouTube videos, I'm a big fan of real-time strategy games. I've been playing RTS games for the better part of like the last 25 years. I've been playing the vast majority of them, and because of that, I tried to stay up to date on all of the recent and upcoming releases in the RTS genre as well. Now, recently, a game that I've been enjoying quite a bit, it goes by the name of Iron Harvest. It came out a couple of weeks ago, and today I want to share with you what the multiplayer version of this game is all about. Now, full transparency, this is a sponsored video. As you know, I don't do a whole lot of sponsored videos right here on the YouTube channel, just because generally speaking, you know, you give the go-ahead to do a sponsored video before you actually dedicate a lot of time in the game, or at the very least check it out for a little bit. However, in the case of Iron Harvest, I had already played this game a whole lot in the open beta. I even casted a tournament for it about a month ago over in Cologne, Germany. The very first tournament for Iron Harvest, which was a lot of fun. And then they reached out and asked if I wanted to do a sponsored video. And since I've been enjoying this game a lot, I figured, you know what, let's make an exception. Why not? Today, I want to explain to you what, especially the multiplayer version of this game is all about, because I think that's probably what most of you are going to be interested in. Just to let you know, there is indeed a campaign, there are missions, but the one mode that I personally enjoy the most is indeed going to be multiplayer. Now, there is a ladder. You can obviously go ahead and play ranked as well, but I think for the purposes of this video, it's probably most helpful if I just simply show you a game against the AI. So I'll just go ahead and start up and add a very easy AI right here to the game, just so we can easily go over the very basics of what the 1v1 is all about. There is also 2v2 and 3v3, so if I set up a different map over here, I can indeed select the, well, the bigger games as well if I really want to. I think for now, though, we'll just go ahead and go on the Deserted Tracks, which is a pretty straightforward and pretty basic map. All right, so this is a real-time strategy game that works a little bit differently than the ones that you commonly see on the channel. There's three factions that you can choose between. So there's Polania, there's Saxony, and there's the Rusviets. I think for the purposes of this video, I'll just get started with Polania over here. We can go ahead and choose our different reserves, which are basically heroes that we can call upon while we're actually in the game. I'm going to go ahead and pick Anarchos, very basic. Apparently the AI right here has picked up Michael. And right now I'm going to be able to choose my reserves. Now the reserves, just like the hero, are basically units that I can call upon at certain intersections in the game. And I'll obviously explain how that works as well. I'll go ahead and pick a couple of these bad boys because I really, really like them. So this is a game that features both biological infantry units as well as, of course, the big mechs. And I think that's the last part right here is what a lot of people are going to really get a kick out of. So at the beginning of the game, we need to get started with harvesting resources, right? And those resources are used to purchase new units. Now, the harvesting of those resources is done a little bit differently than, for example, in StarCraft or in Warcraft. You don't have like a mine or whatever that you get started with. I can instead go ahead and select a troop of units. So these 5 guys over here are considered to be one group of them. And I can right-click on the iron mine over there to start capturing it. Likewise, over here with my engineers, I can go ahead and do the same over there. Or I could, for example, send them over to watch the oil pump. It will take them a little bit of time right here before they will be able to capture any of these things. But essentially what will happen here is that they will be able to capture these resources, and at that point you will see that the resources in the top left-hand corner are gonna go up. Now I am getting a bit of a basic income as well, so I'm getting a little bit of iron here and a little bit of oil already because of my main headquarters. Now, by the way, I'm not gonna try and play a competitive game here. There is a lot of strategy in this game, so obviously that will take a little bit of time to explore if you decide to go ahead and pick it up. By the way, in case you are, link is in the description of this video if you wanted to go ahead and check it out. So we've captured an oil pump, we've captured an iron mine. One thing we can also do with these structures is upgrade them. So in the case right here, for example, of this iron mine, it will cost me 20 iron and 60 oil to upgrade it. And that's going to basically permanently improve it. Now, as you may have already noticed as well on the mini-map, right? The red icon has appeared right over here close to my opponent's main base. So let's talk win conditions for a little bit as we capture some of these objective points. First off, you win if your opponent decides to leave the game, right? Big surprise there. I'm pretty sure that's how most of these kind of games work. If you force your opponent out of the game, that's one way that you end up winning. Secondly, There's actually a bunch of troops over there trying to grab that oil that I wanted to go ahead and grab. It's a little bit unfortunate. I'll go ahead and actually run away and for now just capture some of these other resources that are scattered out on the map. Secondly, I can win by having these victory points. So I'm currently capturing a flag, as you can see. On this particular map, there are 3 flag locations. Essentially, the player with more flags available will start gathering points. And the first player to reach 500 victory points, which is the default setting. You can change that one if you want to. But I believe that on the ladder right now, the default is 500 points as well. You will essentially find yourself with a victory if that ends up being the case, which is very, very convenient. Lastly, you can win as well if you, in this case, for me, destroy your opponent's headquarters, which is currently shrouded by the fog of war for me right over here. Okay, so let me go ahead and upgrade a couple of these structures, just so hopefully we can grab ourselves a bit of income. So I'll make a big oil pump over here as well as a big iron mine. Now, obviously, my opponent is going to be able to capture these here eventually as well, right? So I'm going to have to be careful that I don't lose these. So let's talk about production then for a little bit. In the earlier stages of the game, I'm really only going to have access right here to engineers and to these riflemen. These are a little bit different depending on the faction that you play, but the idea, like the basics are pretty straightforward. Engineers are used to make other structures, so I can make a barracks and then also a workshop here very shortly. Now, one thing you may have already noticed here actually as well is that I just looted something here with my engineers. So I picked up this little health kit that was available, and let me move back real quick. I picked up like a little health kit over there, which transformed my engineers into a bunch of medics instead that I can use, obviously, to heal up my troops as well. Now, there's a bit of an engagement going on over here. I will be bringing over my other troops in this direction as well, because apparently the enemies have decided that this is going to be a moment where they want to fight me. Units do take cover pretty easily, so he's retreating right now, which is pretty neat for me. If I see him retreating, I can obviously chase him down, or I can use this moment right here to grab some additional victory points here, which is going to take a little while to capture. Oh, I actually already have that one. Okay, so let me make another group of engineers over here as well, because my original group, it picked up that little medic kit right over here, and they are now apparently a bunch of medics with a new ability over here to heal troops. Very useful. However, they cannot actually build any of the things anymore until I decide to return to this little spade over here. Now, spoiler alert, technically speaking, you're pretty much always better off upgrading the engineers because they are very cheap. So for 150 iron, I can buy these guys, and I can essentially, for example, right here, turn my riflemen into grenadiers instead. Grenadiers also more expensive than riflemen, so usually it's a good idea to upgrade in these kind of scenarios in the early game. So Grenadiers essentially, I believe they're called Grenadiers, right? Yeah. They are essentially riflemen, but with one additional ability. Obviously, they're going to be able to throw a grenade. Okay. Now that I have my additional group of engineers, I can start building... Oh, actually, I pressed the wrong button here. I can start building some additional structures. So I'm going to go ahead and build a barracks over here, and then after that, I will be making a workshop as well. There's obviously a cost for these structures, but you will be able to unlock additional troops. So out of the headquarters, I can only build these two right over here, as well as the reserves. Now, the reserves are chosen before the game starts. In my case, I picked the hero Anna, as well as the two small infantry mechs that are very, very helpful. The thing is, you're pretty much always, even though you usually lead in this game towards like the bigger mechs, generally speaking, you do still want to have a bunch of infantry units out, because the only thing that mechs can't really properly do is capture some of these objective points. So they are not going to be capable of getting these iron mines and the oil mines. Now, all of these different units have different strengths and weaknesses, right? So while I talk on here, let's go ahead and build up the workshop as well. If you hover over the units, you can see what they're good against and what they're weak against. So, as you may have already guessed right here, the Grenadiers are going to be pretty good against unarmored, because they can throw grenades at them. The anti-armor gunners are going to be good against medium armor. They're going to be pretty good against the early game mechs. Now, the barracks is obviously utilized right here to create those infantry units. I can upgrade this one just like the iron mine, and there's also the oil pump once. So I can upgrade it here, right here, to unlock additional troops right over here at the bottom section of the screen as well. However, I mean, we can talk about the infantry units here for a little while longer if I really want to. I actually got to be careful I don't accidentally obtain a victory here, because I am getting quite a lot of points right now, and the easy AI is really not that impressive. But here we go. So I've got myself the workshop done. Now, initially, the workshop gives us access right here to the Strasnik and then also the Schmali. Strasnik essentially is the most basic anti-infantry mech that I can make. So it's very good at just simply shutting down your opponent's, you know, infantry. And then the Schmali, I will try and make that one here very shortly as well, is going to be significantly better at shooting down your opponent's mechs. So usually what you see right now in a lot of these, you know, 1v1 games is people rushing out a lot of infantry to, like, spread around the map very quickly. And then they will transition towards either one or two of these guys just to start hitting your opponent's infantry as well. So I'm going to be able to get this guy to go across the map here too. And I'm going to be able to start fighting some of my opponent's troops. So I can just attack move it in that direction. I will also go ahead and as soon as I can afford it, make one of these Schmalis. I'm a big fan of these guys. They're extremely fast. They're very microable. So this guy, I mean, you can see the circle around him to indicate how far the range is for him to go ahead and fire. Let me see. There's some enemies right over there. So obviously, this guy is going to be pretty fantastic right here, shooting against infantry troops. Now, this is one of the few mechs actually that that can fire and move at the same time, which is really neat. I actually think it might be the only one. There's actually also a nice little red barrel there, which you can use obviously to explode. Anyways, you can see right now that already my my mech is taking a little bit of damage, so I'm going to be sending it back. And obviously, in this case, that's just going to be a numbers game. I could go ahead and send some more of my troops forward to get them in this direction as well. And then maybe... Ooh, I gotta be careful, actually. We do not want to have them taking additional fire here from the back. I can go ahead and throw the grenade over there. There we go. So there's the grenade being thrown. And I'm got a feeling that this bad boy is not going to be able to live for very long. Enemies actually are now sitting behind that little bit of cover over there too, which is neat. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and produce myself one of these Schmalis as well, just to show you the difference between the basic mechs. And after that, I think I'll go ahead and upgrade some of my workshops as well. Or my one workshop as well. There we go. We are going to upgrade our workshop as well to show you some of the bigger mechs that are going to be available here too. So here's the Schmali coming up. So this guy is very fast and he's got a lot of range. So you can see the distance at which he can fire. He's he's like a slow firing dude who's going to be very good, especially against the opponent's mechs as well. Now, at this point, they don't have that, so he doesn't actually serve much of a function. One thing they did just pick up, actually, is one of these field cannons. I've got one right over here myself as well. I can use that, obviously, on my infantry troops if I want to, and basically allow them to move around with this unit as well. I can send this one maybe over here and start firing away at some of these from a bit of a distance. Grenadiers don't have their grenade available just yet, but they can maybe start hitting this one from the back as well, which might be nice. And so far, I mean, you can see the easy AI might not be necessarily the most impressive. I'll go ahead and upgrade this production building over here as well to the advanced workshop, so we can hopefully get some of the bigger mechs out just to showcase some of those as well. Here we go. And once again, we are absolutely trashing the artificial intelligence over here in this game. Now, you may have already noticed a couple times that they have these, like, things above their head, right? These little retreat icons. Retreats can be done. For example, I can do it right here on my mech as well. However, they can't be cancelled, meaning that if I decide to, like, retreat a unit, it's gonna retreat and it's gonna go all the way back to my main base where I will be able to repair it back up. However, once you trigger a retreat, your units are gonna be stuck there, so you can't really do very much. By the way, after just now destroying my opponent's field cannon, can indeed go ahead and grab that thing myself as well, so I didn't just now capture it, which is pretty neat. I can set it up right here and you can see what that arc where it's going to be able to fire. This thing is fantastic, especially against opponents' mechs, which they currently don't have just yet. Alright, so my advanced workshop is done. I want to show you guys the tour here, ideally, which is like the biggest of the mechs that I can produce as this faction. We'll have to save up for that for a little bit. And actually, one other thing that I want to show you as well is these reserves. So all of this does cost me quite a lot of resources. Maybe what I should go ahead and do actually is capture some of my opponent's iron mines as well. I'm sure they won't mind, right? I'm sure they'll feel fine about that. Can I go ahead and grab that iron mine, please? So these guys actually are probably going to end up going down unless I can retreat it. So this guy did just make his way back home after I retreated it there, and I can regain it its HP right there for 275 iron and 55 oil. Don't think I want to do that in this particular case, just because that's really not useful for me. It's way too expensive. But let's go ahead and grab ourselves the first reserves. Now, one reason why you want to retreat your units is because of the fact that if you retreat them, you can repair them and get them back in battle later on, right? Very obvious. However, one other big advantage is that you can deny your opponent's XP. So sometimes, you may have already noticed it on the right side of the screen, it says that a unit has gained veterancy. And veterancy is fantastic because it allows you to get additional abilities on some of your troops. This is different for all of the different troops. Some troops can level up multiple times as well, so that is something worth noting. But you'll have to explore that as you try out this game if you decide to go ahead and do so. Let me send some of these dudes back. In the meantime, while this was going on, I got my first reserves out. Now, at the beginning of the game, you choose your reserves. I decided to only go with reserves 1, and that's what these guys are right over here. So I've got 2 of these machines that I already showed you earlier, the Strasniks. And I also have another hero unit over here, and her name is Anna. So Anna actually has a bear, which is pretty neat. And obviously I can send them all over the map. So while the game has a relatively short pace to get started with, it ramps up very quickly. Like I said, I casted that tournament over in Cologne in Germany actually, which was a lot of fun. The skill level that some of these guys already have, so in that instance it was well played who ended up winning the game from Russia. They're extremely fast and they're really good at multitasking and grabbing the entire map while also teching up at the correct moment. So while the pacing of the game is rather slow initially, it ramps up very quickly and there's a lot of multitasking required in order to do things properly as the game progresses. Now I have indeed thrown Anna right here inside of this structure as well, so she can go ahead and capture this area. I would like her to level up, right? So I could definitely go ahead and, for example, line up one of her special abilities, which is basically a skill shot right over there on these engineers of my opponent. I'm gonna be able to grab them as well, and you can see the bear going to town as well. He's gonna be able to get the final kill there. I've got 50% of the victory points, so before this game ends, let me make some of the big mechs as well. So, I'm currently making the tour. The tour is by far the biggest mech that Polania has. So, in general, it seems like the really big units in this game are very slow, but also very powerful. While they do take a very long time to walk anywhere, they do actually take the shortest route there. So, I'll show you that in just a little bit. This is one of the features that I really, really liked when I first installed the game, because I actually didn't realize that that was the thing. So, here's the tour, the Iron Giant. Extremely good. Say I wanted to send them right here in the direction of the iron mine, right? One cool thing is that he just literally walks through everything that's available. So, while they are slow and very powerful, they do take the shortest route wherever they want to go, which is really, really neat. So, I'll be sending that guy, I think, towards my opponent's base. Usually what you can do in these kind of scenarios is use it obviously for fighting, but you gotta keep in mind the wind conditions, right? I might just want to take control of this flag and then the one over here in the bottom, since I will have 2 out of 3 flags. I'm obviously gonna be able to tick ahead in the victory points, or I can send it towards my opponent's main base and try and grab some of those kills there on, for example, some of his structures. If I manage to destroy the headquarters, I just simply win the game straight up. I can send all of my troops if I want to in this direction, right? So let's just, for the sake of it, send everyone over here. Actually, I need you to get out of the building, Anna. We'll send everyone over here. And then we can start maybe pushing my opponent's main base. So here's another mech that I made. This one actually can be deployed, so it's a little bit different. He's actually a very big mortar, so he has got some of the sickest range in the game. Now, obviously, there are a lot of different units available in this game. The ones that I've shown you so far are just from the Polanians. Can I show you, by the way, the big siege? There he is. Was he actually already shooting? Man, this guy has got so much range, yeah. So I just want to be able to hit that headquarters from there, so this guy is going to be able to get a lot of help in. Anyways, all of the different factions have different units. So, different mechs, obviously, as well. And while they have a little bit of overlap, obviously, it is worth noting that there is a lot of variety there. Do I actually need to have vision of it? I don't even know. Anyways, so while it will take a little bit of getting used to, because ideally, like when you play this game, obviously you want to know exactly which units your opponent is going to have access to as well. It's going to take a little bit of time and a couple of games before you really get a hang of that. Like, for example, the Rusviets are very strong in melee combat and in general have a lot of very early game strength, whereas Polania is kind of like the middle of the road, and then Saxony is very good as well in the late game. They have some really cool mechs too, but yeah, there's a very cool concept. So I've been enjoying this game a lot. It's a lot of fun to see, you know, the RTS concepts that people come up with in 2020. So if you wanted to go ahead and give this game a try, I'll go ahead and leave a link to the game down below in the description of this video. If you click that link, they know that you actually came there because of my video, so that will be kind of neat if you decide to give it a try. Now, if you decide to go ahead and give this game a try, please let me know down below in the comment section of the video what your thoughts on it are. It is pretty neat, right? So even if you're not necessarily interested in playing the multiplayer version and the 1v1, you might still be interested in the campaign, which, if I recall correctly, is 7 missions per faction. So it's actually got like a fully flushed out, you know, long single-player campaign that actually is story-driven. I've yet to play that one myself as well, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and do so on the live stream in the near future. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. For now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again in the next one.